Continuing our look around the BC Hockey League for the 2016-17 season previews here on Brian's Banter. Joined right now by the assistant coach for the Cowichan Valley Capitals, it is Rob DeClark. Rob, thanks so much for taking the time to chat here.
No problem.
So the cusp of another season is upon us. When it came to putting together this year's edition of the Cowichan Valley Capitals, what holes in the roster were you and the head coach GM Bob Beattie looking to fill coming into the recruiting for this season?
We ended up last year with having quite a few 19-year-olds at the end of the year, so turning 20-year-olds this year. So during the off season, Bob made some transactions to, obviously move those guys to places where they could play as a 20-year-old and try to get them in good situations. And we were trying to get some youth back. I mean, we were certainly top-heavy in veterans last year, so. That was one of the main focuses of the off season, was trying to get value back for those guys and trying to get a little bit younger to set ourselves up for this year as well as next. And we're going to have a big turnover in forward, so we were certainly trying to look to get some scoring. If there was one area of the team that we felt we needed to improve from last year, it was to try to get some goal scoring.
Now, some of the players that were acquired in those transactions that you talked about are not by any stretch older players, but they're players that have had some experience playing junior A hockey. Was that by design?
Yes, it was. We wanted to try to, we did recruit players that are coming into their first year in the league, and there's always a learning curve there. And so you know that you're going to have, September and October are going to be real difficult months for some of those guys, and their talent will come through. You think you'll see them progress, and that obviously you're projecting forward. So when you're trading a 19-year-old, you're not necessarily wanting to trade a 19-year-old for someone that has limited junior experience. You're wanting to bring in somebody that may be 17 or 18 but has played in junior. So Nino Iteta and Max Newton out of Trail are two players that we believe are seasoned and are ready to have their best years in the BCHL, and we're happy to have them. We're happy to have them have those years with us.
Now, as a coaching staff, what did you guys learn from? What did you take away from last season? And did you recognize that there was anything that you needed to change in style or philosophy or anything like that?
Well, it was a progressive year for us. I mean, we were in the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. We had an excellent series with Powell River. 6 games, 3 games went to overtime. And so one of the things that's nice is that we've talked a lot about this over the last few years, is that you can't do anything to replicate that experience. So playing in the playoffs is different than any other type of hockey. And so we now have some guys that have played in those games, and we think that's going to serve us well, coming into this season. We felt like we need to break the puck out better, that we need to have a slightly more mobile defense, so that we have a heavy forechecking division. The Island division, everybody forechecks hard, and it can be very difficult for a young defenseman. So we've got a veteran group back there, and we felt like we wanted to be able to break the puck out better so that we could spend less time in our own zone and obviously more time in on the offensive zone.
What can fans there in Duncan expect from your club this season compared to last?
Well, Bob Beattie always wants to build a team that's going to be exciting to watch. He likes physical play. He wants to see a team that's not going to back down from anybody. The days of 50 fights in a game are certainly over, but the days of having a good, hard forechecking team that's going to finish every check is that's Bob's style. That's his mantra, and he wants to see that out of everybody, regardless of size or age, and he's built his team accordingly. So I think you'll see a fast team. We are, I think we are a little bit faster than we were last year, and hopefully we're poised to take another step forward, which would be to win a round or two in the playoffs this year.
I know it's tough to say, given that the regular season hasn't even started yet, but what would you say at this point is the strength of the Cowichan Valley Capitals team?
I think the strength's going to be our D-core. We have Chris Harper, Ben Varel, Josh Owings, all returning as 20-year-old D-men. They have played 2 or 3 years in junior, respectively. So, Lane McCashie, our goaltender's in his 3rd year in junior. We have a really good young goaltender coming on in Adam Marcoux. And so we think that it's going to be our back end, our defensive zone play, which I think will allow some of our young, skilled, speedy forwards to have the puck in good situations more. But I think the strength of our team this year is going to be in our goals against.
So you alluded to those guys on defense as players that you're obviously looking to play a big role on the team this season, but are there any other returning players that you expect maybe might be set for taking their game to a higher level than maybe the role that they were in last season or even the season before?
Well, anybody that followed our playoff series with Powell River last year would have noticed Aidan McDonald. Aidan McDonald was dominant. He was easily the best player on the ice most nights. He was taking his physical presence, driving the net, and people couldn't handle him. So he's coming back. He will be in our leadership group for sure. And I think a lot of people had Aidan pegged in for kind of a third, fourth line, so just a big body. And he showed that he's got some hands and he's got a pretty good skill set to go along with it. And I think he's, with his playoff series that he had last year's confidence is high coming into this year. And I think he's poised to have an excellent year.
When you look at the roster with players like Corey Hoffman and Ryan Burton and Josh Adkins moving on, how important is it to have a solid group of returnees, guys who know the expectations and are familiar with what you and the coaching staff expect from them as players on the ice?
Well, it happens. I mean, it's the nature of junior hockey, certainly within the BC Hockey League, is that you're always going to have your older leaders leave, and you're going to have new guys that are going to need to step up. And we're kind of in a sort of decent spot this year in that Chris Harper, Aidan McDonald, Ben Varel, those guys were leaders for us last year, and they're going to come back and they're going to set the tone. I mean, we'll certainly miss the guys that we, the energy that Adam Olszewski and Cade Kehoe and those guys brought to the rink every day, but those are holes for new guys to step into, and that's part of the. Certainly part of the exciting part about camp. You get to see certain guys step up, and some of the new guys, Max Newton and Iteta, and those guys are starting to step into some of those roles as well. So it's important to me early. I do a lot of the mental performance coaching stuff, and sort of keep a focus on that, setting the tone of the dressing room and setting the tone of the work ethic here. And in late August and early September is pretty important stuff for a hockey team.
When it comes to what's been recruited and the returning guys that you've got, do you feel that there's already a personality with this team of players, or is it a bit too soon to say?
I think with the guys that we have coming back, the style and the personality of the team, they've never really been afraid to chirp and to talk and to try to, have some fun and get guys off their games. And that was, certainly part of her personality last year, and I anticipate that some of that will carry over to this year. Although we could probably benefit from being a little bit more disciplined than we were last year. We were one of the most penalized teams in the league, and that's something that Bob and I are looking to address early this year.
Now, within the last month, your team has been in the news quite a bit when it comes to a change in the ownership group. How much does that impact what you guys do on the bench or on the ice or in the dressing room? Or is it something that it kind of doesn't even play into that equation?
Well, I'd like to say it doesn't, but the reality is that you want to know that you're in a stable spot, that you're in a stable situation. And in junior hockey, the economics of junior hockey is what it is, and there is always a concern that if you're not in a stable situation or you don't have stable ownership, then you worry about that a little bit. So probably more so in the summer. There was a lot of unknowns. We weren't sure exactly what was going to happen for a period of about 6 to 8 weeks. But I've had multiple meetings with new ownership. I understand the vision, understand the reasoning for them to be involved in the game. Feel very good about that, and I think it will be very good for Duncan.
And now, lastly, before I let you go, Rob, what does it mean to be a Cowichan Valley Capitals player?
Well, we always want it to be team first is what our motto is, and they've got signs in the dressing room and things that we talk about. But to be a Cowichan Valley, Capital means you're going to have to. We need a team effort to win. Let's be 100% real. The the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins of the world don't call, us to come every year. So we try to build a team that is a team. And so our mantra is, you're going to do whatever it takes for the team to win this hockey game. And that's how we're going to find success, because, Penticton's going to roll into town, and they're going to have more highly touted guys than us. But we've, had success in some of those situations in the past when everybody buys in. So we talk a lot about team first. That's what it means to be a Cowichan Valley Capital.
All right, Rob DeClark, assistant coach for the Cowichan Valley Capitals, as the 2016-17 season is just about upon us. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat, Rob, and good luck for the season.
All right, thanks, Brian.